That's my girl. Come here. I know this is what you want. Yes, say hello to the camera. Say hello to the camera. You know, there is somebody on YouTube who just lost their kitty. And the kitty's name was Salem. And he was a black cat like you. But he didn't have a white patch. And his dad was named Scott. And we're so sorry, aren't we, Scott? We know. We know what it's like because we just lost Gandalf the Stray. Yes, we did. And I'm sorry for your fall too, Scott. My hands don't look quite so bruised, but I just got out of the hospital day before yesterday in time for the heater to get put in. Oh, that's it. That's all you ever see of my doctor. Named for Doctor Who character. There was the doctor, Rory, Davros, and Amelia, but Amelia turned out to be a boy, so it got named to Pond. So Davros and Pond got adopted together. I never caught Rory, and the doctor was the coward one, so she's been with me ever since, and that's been, I think 7 years now. So he sent our condolences, darling. You're only right up 95 from me in Philly. And I'm in Chester, right on the edge of it, in a big old house. Warehouse 13 here behind me. But we do send our condolences. Now, anybody who's not seen the old Curiosity Shop, I'll put the link below. Scott really kind of specializes in stuff from the 30s and 40s. He finds amazing stuff. And he doesn't do live sales. He just does the videos. Always extremely informative. He's even got the skills to even restore some stuff. He's restored some lamps that were just gorgeous little boudoir lamps that he restored. And he's well worth checking out his channel. Now, he's way bigger than I am. He doesn't need any plugs. But you know what? If you don't know who he is and you like the 1930s and 1940s style, he's definitely one you've got to have on your radar. I personally love elegant glass from the 1930s. I really like the clear stuff, which nobody else seems to like. But he always, he finds it, I don't know how he finds it. He finds some great stuff. He's well worth it. I'll put the link in. Check him out. Now, for those of you who want to know an update on me, I'm here. I'm out of the hospital. From the stress, from dehydration, from that nasty little chemical stress test that was last Thursday, my heart decided to start doing strange things. And it started shooting pain down my arm. And at the same time, while in the basement on Sunday morning, I got some very, very sharp pains across my abdomen. The first one of which completely doubled me over. The second one almost did the same. And my father had died of an aneurysm on the aortic vein that goes across the stomach. So I was not taking any chances, and we got me right to the ER. The vein is fine. There's no sign of any weak walls. There's no sign of any bubbling. The vein is beautiful. All the stomach acid from the last month has done a number on my stomach. And it actually has started to tear up the opening of the stomach, which was the pain. We all know that the last week push of trying to get things ready in this overstuffed house for that heater to come in, because it didn't absolutely have a date or no, and they're just the sheer volume. You've seen the videos. Just was so much acid, it just did a number. And the two happened to hit at the same time. So, I'm still waiting on all the test results back. I'll see my cardiologist not this week, but the following week, because I had an appointment with them already then. I have talked to his office. The results basically are that all that stuff paired together to create kind of a perfect storm. My heart is so very tired that the murmur itself that I was born with, the muscle is just so tired that so much more blood is backwashing out of that valve that it just can't keep up. And then the dehydration didn't help, because then less and less your blood gets thicker as you get dehydrated. So it just is a mess. And I am prescribed rest, plenty of fluids, because I can get my hands to this. I can't make a fist. I can't lift anything heavy. They blew out 3 veins in the back of each hand. They finally got an IV up here, which this is tender, but it hasn't bruised. And thank you, Peterson and Sarah from Thrift U, because I was trying to watch it live when this one blew, and they had to go hunting for another. And they tried 2 more spots in the back of this hand and had me in tears. And when they said, we need to give you a break, and walked out of the room, I'm like texting in the chat going, I know, Sarah, I know you know about this. What do they do? Is there anything you can tell me? And she and Peterson both said, get them to put a hot compress to raise the vein. And they did that, and boom, right on in. And none of them had known that trick. Well, they know it now. They know it now, and stop putting me through such horror. But that's the basics. I know everybody was very worried because some of you were on that live chat. You knew there was some kind of problem. That's the problem. I am traditionally a hard stick. My veins seem to be kind of small. I also, unfortunately, am a redhead. And redheads tend to have, it was a study out of Scotland and confirmed in, I think, Finland, that redheads tend to have more pain receptors per square inch in their skin than most other hair colors. So I can even tell when a mosquito bites me. That's how bad my skin is as far as being sensitive. And so this was just torture. It's just flat out torture. At one point in the middle of the night, one nurse, in trying to be helpful, decided that she needed to switch around where my table was so I didn't have to get out of the far side of the bed and walk around the bed to get to the bathroom. But that meant trying to get into the bed on my right knee, which we all know has a ligament problem right now. And so I ended up just banging the heck out of this hand, hurting this one, and then I'm like, I can't. I need something for pain. She said, well, I'll check with the doctor. She never came back, and I sat there and just cried for an hour, 2 o'clock in the morning, just from sheer exhaustion. Nobody should ever have to go through that. And so it'll be an interesting survey when I get it from the hospital, because I was freezing all night. Here they could have turned the temperature up in the room. That room was set at 55 degrees. No wonder I was so damn cold and couldn't sleep. And it was 5 o'clock in the morning before I got a blanket, and that was from the tech who came in to check my vitals. After asking 3 different nurses on 2 different shifts for a blanket. Then at 6:15 in the morning, the next shift comes in to do my vitals. He walks right over to the thermostat, which I didn't realize that was. And he's like, why the hell is it 55 degrees in here? No wonder you're cold. He jacks it up to 70 and then goes to my door, takes the 3 steps to the nurse's station, which is right there, and starts chewing the nurses out, going, why the hell did she not have a blanket till 5 a.m.? Why? She's been telling you she's been cold all night. Why the hell couldn't you just turn the heat up in her room? He chewed them a new one. He was an older gentleman, and he was my hero. But it's just, the nurses were very sweet in how they talk to you, but the care factor of those little things makes such a difference to a patient's day. And it wasn't great. It wasn't great. And I know they have a tough job, but there's no reason for anybody to be in so much pain that they sit and cry for an hour. That's just ridiculous. So all that, though, is over and done with. And I know, and the only reason I'm telling you all of this is because I know there are some of you out there, like me, that are having some medical challenges. Some of you have had multiple surgeries on a leg, among others. And I know how frustrating it is. And sometimes, even though it can do just such a job on your mental health, Sometimes you just need to just sit and cry. I don't care if you are a man or a woman. You have got to let that stress out. Let it out. Guys tend to have more heart attacks than us gals simply because they're taught from a young age, oh, you can't cry. My great uncle said there is no shame in crying when you are in pain, whether it be physical or emotional. There should never be any shame in letting tears fall. And the man was a Navy SEAL before they had the term SEAL. He used to take mines off the sides of ships in the World War II. It almost killed him when a mine exploded. They were magnetic mine. They would take them off the hull of ships coming back from the English Channel. The man was amazing. And he taught me a huge amount. And he also taught me that there is no shame in tears. If you are in that much anguish, it has to be let out. Whether it's mental or physical, if there's that much pain and frustration, you have to let it out. You know, and Aunt Harriet and Uncle George were one of the best men and women I've ever met. So, you have to. But, don't let it go overboard. Like, you still want to keep some control, so you're not having like a total meltdown, out of control, which I have been known to have. There's a reason I have Xanax prescription. They don't happen often. 30 pills usually last me a year. I sure as hell could have used one in the hospital with all this stuff going on. They didn't give me one. I asked. I said, call the doctor. Never heard a thing. So, I let it out. And mentally it felt better. My head still had a number done on it for how much this hurts. But you have to. You've got to carefully let it out. Now we have all that out. The motivational part, the condolences for Scott, because we all have, a lot of us have pets, a lot of us have cats on this YouTube community. We all know what it's like to lose one across the Rainbow Bridge. We all know what it's like to have to deal with physical and mental pain of health issues. So now that we've gotten those two things I wanted to take care of today done, let's talk about the heater. The heater's in. Yes. And thank you all so much for your prayers, for your help, for keeping me sane over some of that. The heater is in. It works mostly evenly. I am to give it another 24 hours and then I will call the heating tech. Because of it being two separate loops, the new technology, he said, that will try to even it out. But if it's not quite even, he can come back and he can try to tweak the amount of water flow through each line. Because the 1935 line is smaller, and that would get burning hot. And then the 1911, it's got to go through 3 floors, and it's bigger, and it's also got one radiator in that system, in that loop, that is empty. It doesn't have any heat. So they have to tweak the pressure in the lines themselves to each one through the shutoff valves if the computer system isn't quite able to adjust. And it can take 24 hours for that to completely adjust, so you really got to wait 2 days. But things look good. It's not as uneven as the old system had it, so it looks good. Looks good. Now, they did have to do a little bit of plumbing work. I paid for that. Thank you. You all, quite a few of you greatly helped me with that. They could not do anything about the radiator in my room, which is the one that's turned off that leaks, because the weatherization grant will only pay for that if it's the actual radiator. It's not. It's the pipe in the floor. Once it goes below floor level, it's not covered. So at some point I will have to get a plumber in to actually work on that and fix that. But to do that would mean the dining room has to be empty because the china closet's right underneath. So if they need to get into that wall, that big monster Civil War era oak china closet has to move, and it's got nowhere to go at the moment. But spring is here, so I will worry about that next year. We have warmth in the room just for the fact that there's no insulation really between floors in this old place. And so now that the kitchen is getting warm, some of that heat goes up. If I leave my bedroom door open, I also get heat from the house during the day, because it's right at the top of the staircase on the side. So the heat goes up that 3-floor channel of staircases. Just by default, I get some. I get even more if I leave I have a little tiny fan, and I leave that running, and it helps circulate the cold air out of the room and the warm air in. So we've found ways to manage for years, and so we're making it manage now. So as you can see, the house is a nice 67 degrees, which after it being 60 for so long, or 54 at one point. So I'm a little bit chilly, but my sweatshirt's in the kitchen, so I'll get that later. So that's going to get taken care of later. That can get done in the summer. I have to deal with the room first. There's so much fabric in there there's a wall of fabric in there. You guys can't even see it because it's behind other stuff. So that's going to be a thing that is on the list of goals. We're trying to restructure what the next goals are. And we'll talk about that in a separate video. You got to have your goals. Tree's been down. New heater's in. Some of the plumbing work for the heater is done. That one lone piece is not. And then there's the fact that there's no hot water to either bathroom upstairs because of leaks. So there'll be plumbing definitely on the list for 2021. So what are your goals for 2021? What's the goal that you're working on now for your stuffed house? What's your goal this year? You got to have one. You got to have a goal. If you got to put a picture of it up, hanging it up, or a note somewhere that you see it every single day so that you can spend just 5 minutes thinking about what step can I do today? Even if it's a baby step, what step can I do today to get to that goal? You need that. Many of you are doing the black hole challenge. How are you doing with your black hole challenge? Even if it's an hour a week, keep going. You're making progress. You can do it. Stuff doesn't get like this overnight. It's not going to get fixed overnight. Unless you do it the nightmare way of, oh, just get a dumpster. But then, if you're like me, you've already been through that. You've already been through sending the big stuff to an auction house. You're left with the minutia. You know it. You know it's worth something. So you just need time. But you also have to make the time to some extent. It's easy to sit there and watch a bunch of Netflix. I've had to do that when I've had 6 weeks at a time where I was stuck in bed rest. I know how easy it is to, waste time. And now you have a little phone in your hand that's full of TikTok and Spotify. Well, Spotify you can listen to while you go through stuff. Spotify has great podcasts. None of this is endorsed. I don't have any endorsements by anybody. And YouTube. YouTube takes a lot of time. You can watch a lot more on YouTube a lot faster. If you change the speed on the setting, you can up it to 1.25 and still be able to clearly understand everything that's said. And it increases its time. And when you get really good at listening to it, for some of them, you can up it even higher. You get through a lot more videos a lot faster. So, that's all the updates for all of that. I've covered everything I could think of except this Thursday. I honestly, today's Wednesday. I still can't pick up anything heavy. I can get my fingers to this. I can feel it pull when I do that. I can't lift anything heavy. I don't think we're having a sale. But the box that my son bought is here. It's right here. He put it up there for me. He opened it up. I looked at two things. I peeked. Yes, I peeked. I needed some happy stuff. I peeked. I will show you what I peeked and saw. I'm not lifting up that bubble wrap any higher. I already played with one of these. There we go. There we go. And you have this little pieces of paper in there. And you have to slide them around into the spot. I did manage to successfully do it. Place the red geometric shapes over their blue counterparts. Now, the company, all this stuff is by B. Shackman. This one's from 1998. This one's from, I think, 97. And so they're all kinds of stuff that they did. Now, Shackman had been around, was all through the 80s, was all this great Victorian stuff. B. Shackman had been around for years making good quality reproductions of stuff. And this is some of it. Now, this is Sonia Henney, who was a Olympic ice skater. And then in the 30s and 40s, they made movies with her. And then these are some costumes that are taken and colored from what she wore in some of her movies. And it says Sonia Henney, hanging ornaments. Skating champion and movie star Sonia Henney is featured here in the costume she wore in her films as of the 1930s and 40s. Now, I thought these illustrations looked familiar, and then I saw it said, copyright 1997, Tom Tierney. Tom Tierney is a great artist, and he's done a lot of stuff for Shackman. He's also done a huge amount. I swear he specializes in paper dolls. He's done a huge amount for Dover Publications, which still today prints paper dolls. They have modern ones, too. You can get ones of every president for ages back, including the Clintons, the Obamas, the Reagans, both Bushes. I'm assuming there's one of President Trump and his family. So, but Dover Publications is still around. They do reproduction, fantastic reproductions of everything from postcards to books. You can get a lot of the Howard Pyle books from them. I don't know if it's a him or her, but it's a great company. And Tom Tierney does a lot of their paper doll books, and they're fabulous. So those are the only two things I pulled out. I've not seen anything else in here. We're going to go through this Thursday night. And if there's more, I have to find out, I know sometimes some of this Shackman stuff can be pretty pricey on eBay. So we'll see. If there's duplicates, maybe we'll be selling some off. We'll see. I know there's duplicates of this. I can see them in there. So maybe there'll be a little bit of light stuff out of the box to sell that night. So let's tuck those back in. The only other thing I can see is there's some kind of ball about that big with a red ribbon. I'm assuming it's some kind of an ornament. So that's my update. That's all I got. This has probably rambled on long enough. I'll have to trim it up. And I have a few little snippets of things that had been on Instagram, and snippets of the basement and the heater, and I'll tag stuff together, probably onto the end of this. I see this has already run 23 minutes, so it's a little longer than I had expected. But that's the update for now, and I will see you guys 11 p.m. Thursday, tomorrow night, okay? And we'll have some fun. I don't know that it'll last 3 full hours. Give you a warning now. We'll see, because that's kind of late for me at this point. I'll try to take a nap in the afternoon. But have fun today. Spring is coming. We still got another cold snap coming next week for my area of Pennsylvania. But the heater's in. The heater's in. I don't have to sit here and freeze. Though right now my hands are cold. So I got some fingerless gloves I'm going to be putting on. Thank you to those who have. So I know there's another pair coming, which I can't wait to see. And then I have a pair that's woolen ones that I have to see if I can actually put them on, since I've got so many blown veins. But that's another problem. Anyway, You guys have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow night in the chats at the live sale. Bye!